Hi, Sjaniel. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Susie, thank you for having me. It's so lovely to be here with you.
Pleasure, treasure. No, I was excited to see you again because I haven't seen you since we did the British Beauty Council panel
which was
talk.
wonderful.
It was quite scary. There's a big audience there. But actually, that was the first time I met you.
Yes.
Because I was introduced to you by that lovely Jasmine Hemsley,
yes.
who's a really old friend of yours.
Very old, very old.
Tell
we
me
go
how
back
you know
many
her.
years.
How did you meet?
We used to be models together back in the day, but I'm talking over 15 years ago. And Cape Town, where I'm from, and London is kind of a bi-seasonal place for models, and that's kind of how we met. We were at the same agency, and then she came to Cape Town, and we just became friends then, and it's been kind of...
Well, you've got like-minded loves, haven't you?
Yes, definitely.
Ayurvedic living and
I think
holistic...
a massive catalyst for me to kind of move to the UK was definitely that her and their company and the kind of movement toward health and wellness, definitely.
Oh, seriously? I didn't know that was the catalyst for you to move over. So no regrets, right?
Oh, no, none.
Fantastic, fantastic. But I mean, what was so encouraging for me when I was introduced to you through the BBC, the British Beauty Council, I didn't really know that there were holistic makeup artists out there. I knew obviously makeup artists exist, but you're a holistic makeup artist.
Yes.
So, and it's, I mean, from just understanding your background of nutrition and wellness, and to be able to nourish your skin whilst having gorgeous makeup applied. I mean, that's quite a very much a new age thing, but so relevant for today.
Definitely not that many of us around that focus solely on that. I think it's growing, the movement, but I feel that I've been doing it exclusively for about 6 years now, only using natural and organic makeup products as a professional makeup artist. And it turns out that when I started doing that, very, very few people were. I think it's growing much more now. There are, but I would say even in London, there may be about 10 makeup artists who are known to be doing that full time.
But I wouldn't have thought actually precursor 10 years ago there wasn't such a thing.
No.
Well, there wasn't such a thing as clean beauty.
No.
There wasn't such a thing certainly as clean makeup. I mean, what
very,
was clean?
very little, yes, very little.
Probably the conversation would have been organic.
Definitely.
And natural. And things have evolved so much since then.
So it's a whole new world for colour cosmetics, and there's a massive market for good skin colour cosmetics, for good foundations, for good BB creams, and it's grown so much in the last even 3 years.
But that's because not only is the consumer demand there,
yes,
it's also because now the big suppliers, those raw material suppliers, have caught up with that.
That's so key, is that the consumers over the last 10 years have massively started to demand these products, and that is why the whole kind of commercial community around it is changing massively. But I think the challenge that people don't realize is that age-old formulation has worked, and all these commercial products work really well because they've been kind of building on these formulations for 30, 40 years, and this is still a baby in its infancy. True. Trying to formulate beautiful skin color cosmetics without any silicones. And so, with every new product and every new formulation that comes out, it's kind of an advancement to a better product. And they are totally becoming better and better, but I feel that there's just still so much more room for growth.
There's a long way to go, but as you say, silicones, I can tell a heartbeat away when something's got, those synthetic silicone. Hard to say, synthetic silicones, but it's just that very unnatural skin feel.
Yeah.
But now, we just talked about that, the natural supply community are now offering better products to work with. But the bit you talked about earlier, which is the bit that I'm fascinated about, is the fact that consumers now are creating the demand, as you said. So they are now looking at, a product and then doing the forensic looking at the back of the pack and just go, and they know what to look out for. So there is nowhere to hide. So, plenty brands do try and hide, but ultimately the consumers are so savvy and they can look at the back of a pack and they can know straight away whether, because there is you've got the what's it called? The intelligence now on, it's called the internet, isn't it?
Yes.
Where you can just Google any ingredient, and if and that'll just tell you that's from natural sources, or that is synthetically derived, or that actually is hazardous for your skin.
Yes.
So it's all there. And you can get even these barcoders where you can just take your product. What are they? There's one.
So there's one called Think Dirty.
Yes.
An app, and you can literally scan your barcode, and if that product's in the system, then it will tell you which ingredients have what kind of level of hazard to your health, which is pretty incredible that they...
But if you think back in the day, I'm thinking back in the day of my grandmother, who used to just put cold cream on her face and wipe it off with a tissue, and then she'd put powder on her face and then lippy, and I knew that that lipstick was made from whale blubber.
Wow.
I mean, it had that distinctive smell. I mean, thank God there's nothing like that. How things, point being, how things have evolved in the last 50 years.
Massively.
But it has in the whole nutritional industry, wellness industry. What was wellness 20 years ago?
Yes, non-existent.
One person in your group of friends, in your friendship group, might have done yoga.
Exactly.
But now it's just, I wonder whether that's come from North America. Probably it has. That whole conscious lifestyle piece.
I think it's also amalgamation of, we're a global community now. We're not, so, you know, it is this thing where East and West and people travel and everything is instant on your screen. So anything that's kind of a ritual in a country that you would have never known about before is now become accessible to everyone. And so I think it has definitely become much more about a global community and everyone understanding, and purely about the ethics of companies and the ethics of your products and the ethics of how things are made. We never had any privy to any of that information before, but because people who work in those third world countries now can have access to the internet and can show what their lives are like, we are aware as consumers whether or not we want to partake in products that are produced in those kind of unethical ways.
Transparency thing. So when I had my baby food brand 10 years or so ago, the conversation was just starting then about transparency. You know, not just about your product formulation, but about how you communicate and what happens behind the scenes. You know, how are you treating your staff? You know, how are things packaged? Or have you got this ethical manifesto? So one of the things that we're busy working on is having an ethical profit and loss. Very much working to those principles of having, if you're going to start a business, start it well. You know, because it just is the right way to behave. And, you know, I think now everyone's looking out for that. So
people want to know that we are, as business owners and just in, you know, in the kind of commercial sector, that we are taking responsibility for kind of where our products are coming from.
For our children's future.
Yes, and just for the well-being of the people and the animals that are on the planet and the planet that we're living in. And of course, in turn, that extends to the future of our children.
Of course it does. But one of the things, I remember being told this years ago, that our skin is our biggest organ, right?
Yes.
So everything that you put on your skin, you know, even nail varnish, even hair colour, you know, we absorb it because our skin, no surprise, massively porous. We absorb everything and it goes into our liver. And then our livers are so busy processing everything because they're trying to metabolize and process everything, those hidden things that we don't know about, that we're probably absorbing through the environment, through our screens.
It's an onslaught of...
Perfect way to put it.
An onslaught of information for our bodies. And I think for me, that is the main point I drive home when people go about, you know, what is the, you know, one product's not going to do anything to my body. And I'm like, well, no. But it is the fact that we have such a massive amount of kind of chemical information coming into our bodies that they've never had to deal with before in 100 years. Never in any time in history has our bodies had to process so much information. And if you can lessen the load in any way, whether that's just by minimizing the amount of, you know, chemical toxins that you are putting on your body with your beauty products, with your hair care products, and with your what you clean your home with, what you have control over. Because I feel, like you say, 10 years ago, it was a new thing for people to start reading food labels and understanding what's in their food. And I think we've evolved to that point where the majority of people would take an interest in that. And I think beauty's got to that point now where people are like, oh, my skin is my biggest organ. It's also, it matters what I put on my skin. That was the realization for me when I was studying to become a nutritional therapist. I'd been a makeup artist for 15 years and I'd never connected the dots.
No, but you wouldn't necessarily. But of course, you know, it all relates how you eat, you know, and having that nutritional responsibility, because essentially if you're just going to eat beige food, you're going to feel pretty beige, right?
Exactly.
So, you know, there's, you know, a host of nutrition from nature that's just, you know, bring that into our lives. But I think a lot of people are very conscious of cost and organic and everything. But, you know, not everybody, I mean, what percentage of people can grow their own veg? Like 0.1% probably of the population, dream on. But you can have control because you can source where you know, what, as you say, what you bring into your lives.
And you know, even if you can't afford to go and buy the best organic thing, a whole food product is a bag of carrots costs you £1 and carrots go a long way. You can live on one cabbage and a carrot for probably 5 days.
This is true. It's,
you know, the point really is that it's just about doing the best with what you have.
Yeah, awareness is everything.
Yes.
Information is key.
Yes.
And the fact that we can, you know, just have that knowledge and be able to sort of make those choices.
And we're just very fortunate that we, as you said before, we have access to the right information. It can't be hidden anymore.
No.
And I think there's still 100% companies who bank on the fact that consumers are just going to read the front of a package and go, oh, this sounds amazing. And
trust it.
And, you know, and trust it, and it looks nice enough, get away with it. And I think for me, a massive driver of why this is so much more than just for me doing makeup for people is that it's an educational process to say to people, demand better from companies who have a lot of money and are charging you literally just for their kind of branding. You know, when you're selling something as a really high-end product at £85 for the product, but it's 95% petroleum jelly.
Or water, or yes.
Well, I mean, and water is one thing because it's a massive amount of an ingredient for so many products. But I'm talking about literally selling something as a high-end product, but it's petroleum jelly.
Yeah.
And, you know, thinking that that's okay to get away with that. And I think we as consumers, and I feel it's really important to teach people that that's not okay. It doesn't even cost them 20p to make that product.
No, it doesn't. But the thing is, because heads are turning, because as we talked about earlier, people just will not accept that anymore. Even those bigger brands now, those big industry names that we've all grown up with, they are looking at owner-founder brands like me and people like you to help communicate that, because they know that they can't easily shift that change because it's all so bureaucratic and financially, you know, heralded.
It really is.
That, you know, it takes. But what is so encouraging is that there are so many people now coming out from, you know, just from their passion and what they absolutely believe in, and creating brands, whether or not they be food brands or whether or not they be, you know, studios for wellness or retreats and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it just is so exciting that you can go to, you can have a weekend in a retreat, let's say, and it could only be, there's so many now, which you can just have in, you know, you can live in an urban environment or be in the middle of the countryside. There are places you can go which is like a 2-week holiday, and you can just completely reconnect with yourself, balance, eat well, sleep well, meditate, whatever. And, you know, again, 30 years ago, if you were stressed, you would, your doctor would give you Valium or something, right? Or you just have gin. Because there weren't the alternatives. In other words, it wasn't, they were so niche, those things. Whereas now those niche things are becoming so lifestyle.
And just accepted that it's okay to, it's necessary for us really to take time out and ground ourselves and get back to just a place of calm. People who have personal experiences and they become so passionate about brands, and I can say without fail, every time I hear a brand owner speak, I'm so inspired by their story. And I think this is the thing that's really important for consumers to understand, is that these independent, natural, clean beauty brands all come from a personal place of passion and wanting to change the bigger picture. It's not, I don't think I've ever met an independent natural beauty owner that is about making money for them. It's about a personal health experience or a personal life experience of understanding, listen, we need to change the way this is working. And it has impacted the bigger companies a lot already, because we know that this is how they're trying to market their things.
What does natural mean?
Exactly.
You know, the organic, for example.
So confusing.
You know, you can grow something organically and you can say it's organically grown and everyone goes, oh, isn't that glorious? And then you're processing it to within an inch of its life and
Yes.
putting chemicals and solvents in it.
Yeah.
But people are still holding on to the fact that it was organically grown.
It's about people being so adamant that they're going to do it the right way, that they're willing to take the time that it takes to get to the place where they want to be with their products. There is very much a massive community of people who will see how well these brands, you know, how the kind of clean beauty industry is growing and exciting, and want to take the shortcuts. And that is how the greenwashing comes in.
Yes.
But I think it is important to make a very clear distinction between, you know, I call the clean, like you say, the queen of clean brands is you're a purist and you want everything that's involved from beginning to end to reflect that about your brand. When your customers trust your product and they know for a fact they've walked that journey with you throughout, you know, just all their personal kind of explorations and changes for their own skin, but really always, like you say, it's about communication and education and kind of being with them. But once they trust that your brand, they are going to be so true and, you know, kind of, they don't change.
So if I were to go into clean cosmetics, so the foundations, etc., so primary cosmetics, do you think there's a market for that?
There is a massive market for that, and you're not the only one who's been thinking about that. I've been thinking about that myself.
Oh, we'll go into business together then.
Because it sounds great. Because I think skin is the number one thing that puts, you know, that's out there, that people, it's your identity. And I think so many people are wrapped up in how good their skin looks. If you can't feel confident without good skin. And there's so many amazing, beautiful, natural and organic skincare products, and we know they work. And your products are amazing, and you know that when you use them, your skin's gonna be transformed, literally. And I can say without fail, when I use natural foundations on photo shoots, I always get comments that people go, the skin looks incredible. I can't believe how good the skin looks. Because you aren't putting these kind of plasticky, you know, silicones polymers on the skin, which is literally just this kind of flat plastic layer. And as much as it makes the skin look perfect, it's a bit dead.
You do have amazing skin, you know.
Thank you.
But you really do. Like you look after yourself.
Well, I must say, I think
it's my skincare, obviously, as well.
No, I must say that I think genetics plays a huge part in skin. We have to say that because, you know, I'm in my 40s and I know that and for years I always banked on looking way younger than what I was. But I think that is massively genetics, but I can say without a doubt when I changed to organic skincare, the texture of my skin changed within 1 week. Within 1 week.
Wow, yeah.
Massively.
Well, no, I can totally believe that because we've had people with proper skin problems, like heartbreaking skin problems, and then they start using our range, and then because I speak to these people, I speak to my consumers, and they just say, you have reversed my problems.
Yes.
You have literally triggered a change in my skin.
And I hear those stories all the time.
It's because the products you're not bypassing anything that's a synthetic, that's a bulker, that's something that's actually not going to benefit the skin. It's going straight to work, so it triggers a change in the skin's metabolism, the fibroblasts, everything that is around the renewal of skin. It's about that nourishment, that performance.
And I really am very strict and purist about, I don't even want to try anything, you know, I wouldn't even try anything that's not organic
I was
or
given,
natural.
and I shan't say who, I was given a free goodie bag of product from a huge brand, and I thought, oh God, 20 years ago I'd have gone num 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 num. But no, I literally can't imagine anything like it. Literally is just kind of like this.
And when you read the ingredients, you kind of cringe, don't you?
You smell them, you just think that is wrong. That is not natural. But you do look so well. I can't believe it.
Thank you. Well, you also always look amazing.
Oh, you're kind.
When I've seen you.
But listen, I appreciate your time. Thank you. I know you've got to get a taxi back because your little one has got. Well, you've got your little one to get back to you, but your boy's in a play later,
yes.
So you don't. No, he's playing the drums later.
He's playing the drums in the play.
Oh my God! I wish him luck. God, how exciting! Film that.
I will.
Yeah,
I will.
Send me pics. But darling, it's gorgeous seeing you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was
gorgeous
so
seeing
nice.
You. I know,
chatting
always.
to you.
We'll see you soon.
We will.